ladies and gentlemen.
Hey ladies, welcome back. Long time no hear. Excuse my hiatus, but I have been taking a break and protecting my peace and doing some things for me. A lot of you may have seen on my community post, I posted that I just started school to learn Spanish. So I'm trying to become bilingual because this job market, if y'all haven't noticed right now, it is no joke. Like, people are having a hard time finding jobs, like all over the United States. Jobs are even ghosting. The job shortage is so, well, there are jobs being posted, but they're like hiring, like not hiring. They're like calling people in for interviews and they're not, like, ghosting people and not hiring them, sending them through like a long process to get these jobs, making very little money, and they're not hiring people. So I have a 17-year-old son, so he's been looking for a job and he's been going to job interviews, a few of them, and he's not heard back from them. They haven't hired him, and I know he's not the only one because I've been paying attention, and this is a problem right now. So if you have a job right now and you hate your job, I would suggest you holding on to that job and not just quitting. I would suggest don't even give a 2-week notice, because these jobs are letting people go the same exact day that they give a 2-week notice or the day after. So I wouldn't even, they're making it so hard for us to just survive. I'm not going to talk too much, but I'm going to get into these videos about jobs ghosting people, because they're doing it a lot. And so it'll be even some tips sprinkled in here and there for what you can do on these jobs to try to make your chances better. So I'll come back with my commentary after this.
I don't mind being ghosted by a guy. I can get over that. But what is up with these damn employers ghosting people? Like, is that what we're really doing? After all of the time and energy and effort put into applying for jobs, you are really just going to leave us hanging. Not even a thanks, but no thanks. Nothing, Now, I understand applicant, A might have more work experience. Applicant B might have more education. You might be sleeping with applicant C, but at least have the humanity in you to send a 2-second email to just show the consideration of all the effort that was put.
If you are interviewing with a larger company right now that has a very set and structured hiring process, please beware. Yes, a lot of times the job they're posting, they already know who they're hiring. It's an internal candidate that's been tracking for this position for a long time. But because the company has set up rules that require them to interview people from outside the company in comparison, they must follow that process. That's how it works. So yeah, a lot of you, I hate to say it right now, are in interview cycles, maybe 2, 3, 4, where you were never going to get the job in the first place. And the worst part about it is they're not going to tell you that. So you're thinking everything's going great, right? Because it almost feels easy. You're going to these interviews, they're happy, they're fine. There's they're not grilling you. That's when you actually should be worried, folks, because if they're not really trying to dig into it and make sure you're the right candidate, then you should know there's something going on. If it's that easy, then it would be for a reason, okay? Let me also tell you about another DM that I just got from somebody. She went through 4 rounds of interviews all the way up to the top, and then the last round was to do something called top grading. It's like a system they use to evaluate you, right? Like one of those assessment tools, and she got rejected. And that sends me over the edge. But companies are doing this. If you're going to do this top grading, you do it on the front end. You don't make that poor person go through 5 rounds of interviews, get the whole company invested in him or her, and then say, oh no, they don't fit this system we're using. I'm so done with it. I have to tell you, as somebody who was in staffing and recruiting for years and now is on the other side trying to share with you, there are signs that a company is not legit when you're going through that hiring process, especially these kinds of structured interview process, and you need to be aware. You need to know these things, but they're not going to tell it to you. They're not going to reveal this stuff to you. You've got to know it and understand it and see it. And it's one of the things that we're coaching every single day inside the Work It Daily platform, right? So one of the benefits of coming and joining a private coaching community where it's staffed by trained professionals that I've trained is that you will tell us your situation and we're going to give you all the added perspective. I can't tell you how many times people come in and we're able to point something out. We'll say, okay, do this. Right? This is how we're going to reveal what's really going on there. Or this is how we're going to pivot them in your direction. Like, you need somebody in your court because there's everybody over on their side, right? They've got their whole team of people against you. And it's not against, but you see what I'm saying. Like, you need your team. You need your army behind you, giving it to you straight, telling you what's really going on, managing your expectations, helping you get to the right people in the process, helping you say the right things in the right moment to stand out, so that you don't go through this frustration. So I'm just really sorry for any of you that have been dealing with these kinds of things. I know it. I'm hearing more and more of it every day. And the answer is to get educated, my folks. The answer is to have people in your side telling you what you need to know. People who have been in hiring and recruiting telling you what's really going on so that you don't feel blindsided and you don't feel, so many people come into me inside the Work Daily program and say, I just feel stupid, JT. You're not. You're not. You just don't know what's going on in the game. And we can show you that. But you need a team, my friends. You need a team, okay? All right. Good luck.
Here's everything you need to know about ghost hiring. This is when employers post a job. I'm talking they post a job 6 to 12 months out, collect hundreds of resumes, never seem to fill the position. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Employers use this tactic to collect hundreds and thousands of resumes so that they can create a database that they can use to benchmark employees internally. This basically means that they collect hundreds and thousands of resumes to feed their internal AI systems. This is because employers want to evaluate their internal candidates against the external ones. It's just another sleazy way that employers gain competitive advantage. But that's why sometimes you see a job that's posted, never gets filled, and is reposted because they're collecting more and more resumes.
You know if you're the lead candidate and most likely going to get an offer coming out of final interviews. Often after a final interview, we feel this overwhelming sigh of relief. We finally made it through. And even when we feel like we did a good job in the final interview, it can be daunting because we don't get any feedback and we're not quite sure if we're gonna get the offer. There are 3 things you wanna listen for from the hiring manager or the recruiter. If you hear one or all 3 of these are strong indicators that you're going to get an offer. Number 1 is any mention or revisiting of salary. As a recruiter, I'm only going to talk about salary with a candidate after a final interview if I feel very confident that we're moving towards an offer. Number 2 is any conversation about getting your references ready to go. Most companies, and there's exceptions to every rule, but most companies operate under the belief that if they ask for your references and they come back positive, then they'll move forward with an offer. And number 3 is any reference to your start date. Every official offer letter includes an actual start date. So if you hear any reference to this, this is basically a signal of them getting ahead of all the administrative tasks they need to do to put together that formal offer letter. If you hear one or all 3 of these, this is absolutely a signal that you're headed towards an offer.
Happened to you? You get to the end of a job interview, you think everything went great, and the recruiter or the manager says, we'll be in touch with you on your status. And then silence. What should you do? First, I would try to remember to ask that person at the end of the interview when they think they're going to get back to you. So will it be a day, a week? Get a time frame from them. This question is important because you do really want to respect that time frame. Once that time frame is up, if you haven't heard back from them, reach out to the company. Remind them who you are, when you interviewed, and for what job, and let them know you're very eager to hear your status. Let them know you'll continue to be patient, but you'd love to hear back from them. This is professional, respectful, and hopefully they'll respond to you. If they don't, cut your losses. It's probably not a company worth working for anyways. All right, good luck. Follow me for more tips on job interviews.
Interviewer didn't show up. Yippee! Yay! I never thought I would experience this type of ghosting, but basically what happened was a week ago, 7 days ago, 5 business days ago, I had an interview scheduled for 1 p.m. So I entered the Google Meet 3 minutes early, 12:57 p.m. I'm in there, I'm waiting, and then 1 o'clock hits, and I'm still waiting. I'm like, it's cool, nobody actually shows up on the dot, let me give it some time. And then it's 1:10. I've been sitting there for 10 minutes, nobody shows up, and I wait a few more minutes, nothing, no signs, no emails. So I decide to email the person. I'm like, hey, are you still available to chat today? We can reschedule if that works better for your schedule. I'm waiting for a response. I go back. I'm still in the Google Meet, I'm waiting. At this point, I turn my camera off. I mute myself, just in case they catch me off guard. And then 30 minutes pass. Keep in mind that the interview is scheduled from 1 to 1:30. The entire 30 minutes passed, nothing happened, no email, no signs. I sat there just waiting. I was prepared. I was like, any minute now, maybe they had a meeting that ran over schedule or whatever, I was like, it's cool. Let me just keep waiting. I waited the entire 30 minutes. Nothing. So I'm like, maybe they had a really important meeting that really ran over time, that's okay. I'll just wait for their email back because, I emailed them. And it's been 7 days. Remember, this was a week ago. A week passed. Still no email. You're telling me last Thursday they didn't get any sort of reminder because it's on the Google Calendar. You're telling me you didn't get a notification on your laptop, on your phone. You didn't see my email. A week passed. Nothing. Like, I know ghosting is very common in the job hunting process, but I've never had it like this where something is scheduled and someone doesn't show up and doesn't, follow up in any sort of way. You can't tell me that this sort of ghosting is now normal too. No.
Next time you interview for a job and you do not hear back, you can send them this message to help check in and continue building the relationship.
I hate this for you. And I hate it for me too, but like on the other end. I feel embarrassed to even say this, but what happened to professionalism? We have gotten so unserious. I needed tires the other day, so I called 3 tire shops. Every single one of them, somebody answered the phone, hello? I'm like, is this the tire place? And they're like, yeah. Ghosting used to be just for dating, and now it's in the job world now. I get ghosted by people that I'm trying to hire, and you're getting ghosted by an interview, like an employer. That is disgusting. It is way too easy to start a business in this country. That you should have to take a boot camp or a class or something. So unserious.
In this job market, ghosting is completely normal, and it's for 2 reasons. Number one, a lot of the recruiting teams have been cut. That means they're operating with a lot less recruiters and still working on the same amount of jobs. The other reason is they're receiving a lot of applications, and so people are just simply falling through the cracks because they don't have good processes. My thoughts are, if you're getting ghosted, follow up 2 or 3 times a week. Follow up on the medium that you were communicating on. So if you were texting them, text them back. If you were talking on the phone, give them a call. If you were emailing, email them. And then just move on. Like, you need to keep the pipeline going in this job market. You literally have to treat the job search like a sales process. You got to have new interviews coming in. You got to make new connections. You got to be constantly applying for jobs. The worst thing you can do is sit around and wait for a company to get back to you, and then they never do. You just got to be applying to new jobs and starting new opportunities. And best case scenario, this company that was ghosting you reaches back, and now you have other opportunities, and now you have what they call leverage, so you can potentially negotiate more when it comes to salary. But to any companies and recruiters out there, please stop ghosting, because in the long run, it just hurts your own reputation.
There's nothing more painful than seeing a job posting get reposted after you already interviewed for and were ghosted by the same position. It just happened to me, and it ruined my day because I'm the kind of bitch who, unless you stomp on my dream and absolutely decimate it, I will be clinging to a little bit of false hope. For this job, I had done 4 rounds, so we were deep in the process, and I think that was it. Like, the next step would have been an offer. In that last round, 2 weeks ago, and I'm not an idiot, it rarely takes that long to give someone an offer after the last interview. But this company had been so responsive after every round, like great communication from the recruiter. So I was expecting to hear something good or bad. And in some ways I did hear, because today I'm scrolling LinkedIn and what's that? Reposted 15 hours ago, the same fucking job. I think my takeaway from this is always assume the worst, because I always have just a little bit of false hope and I cling to it, and then it sets me up for failure because I'm running the scenarios in my mind like, oh, maybe they're just waiting to get approval from all the different departments. Like, maybe they extended an offer to one person, but like, I'm the second choice in case they say no or something. And then like, I always just get let down.
Companies feel the need to ghost people when applying for jobs. One thing if you don't hear anything back and you just simply apply on a job website. To do an interview and then not hear anything back at all is crazy to me. In the past, I had 2 full-time job interviews, and both companies said, oh, you'll hear back from us. We're gonna send you a follow-up whether you got the position or not, or just steps moving forward. I didn't hear anything at all. I find it so frustrating, especially when they say they're gonna get back to you with next steps or a follow-up and they don't. And I'm gonna explain what happened to me because it happened twice. First full-time job interview I had, it was the first round of interviews, and I sent the person a thank you email, sent a follow-up after like a week and a half, just like because I didn't hear anything back, and I was like, is this a yes or a no? Like, at least tell me. Never heard anything back. Basically ghosted me, still to this day. Second one frustrates me the most. So I did not 1 round, not 2, but 5 rounds of interviews with this company, and one of the interviews being with the CEO, and they ended up ghosting me. At this company, I was applying for the social media manager position. The first round was with the recruiter. The second round was with someone on the marketing team and with people on the social team and people that do graphic design. Last round of interviews was meeting with the CEO. Throughout this whole interview process with this company, I was making sure to kind of reassure, like, am I going to hear back? Like, am I going to hear a follow-up? Because I got ghosted in the past, referring to my first job interview I got ghosted from. And they kept just reassuring me and saying, you'll definitely hear back. Once I complete all the rounds of the interview process, I wait like a week before like reaching out to this company again. And I did eventually after like a week and a half later. And I was like, I'm just like here to follow up on my interview to see like the status. Like, one from the company responded to that email and said they had a few more people to interview and they would definitely be getting back to me with like an answer. Another week and a half goes by, still nothing. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to email them again. They're still like interviewing their final round of people, whatever. Now it's been about a month and I still haven't had like a yes or no, like email or just some kind of update to doing all those interviews. At that point, I was like, okay, well, I definitely didn't get the job. It would have been nice to have like an email, especially since you guys were saying you were going to send me like an update on the status of the process. Since like realizing they ghosted me, this company was still posting like job descriptions and like applications on LinkedIn. And I was just like, you guys can do that, but you can't even just tell me no. I understand that, these companies they have viewing so many different people and it's a lot to respond to everyone. But when I do 5 rounds and one of them is with the CEO and they all tell me through each round of the interview process that I'm not going to be ghosted and that they'll tell me a yes or no answer in an email at some point, and then they don't, that's what frustrates me the most. It's like, don't say that if you're not actually going to do it.
2024 job market is absolutely brutal. You have to fill out hundreds, if not thousands of applications to just get a few callbacks. And then when you do get a call back, you're likely going to go through a 4, 5, 6, even 7-stage interview process. In between each round of interviews, you'll probably get ghosted by the recruiter and the hiring manager. And then you'll get an invitation to the next round of interviews. One of those rounds will be a panel interview, which is basically where the executives gather around, judge you, and interrogate you. And then, of course, let's not leave out the assessments. You'll probably get a psychometric assessment, personality assessment, probably even a cognitive assessment. And then if you get through all that, you'll get to wait anxiously for about a month while they basically weigh up which of the 10 candidates they're going to go with. And then you'll get a low ball offer. And you'll think, we talked about salary 4 months ago when I started the process. This is way lower than what I talked about. To which they'll say, hey, take it or leave it. We've got 9 other people that are just as interested and qualified as you. That is the reality of the 2024 job market.
If you've been on 8 second-round interviews and not moved forward like Amanda here, then I can tell you the one thing that's happening, which is you are not being seen as the must-have candidate. In this market, and it's very different than just a couple of years ago, like during the Great Quit, companies would do like 1 interview and hire people because they were afraid they'd lose you. Totally different market right now. They have their pick of candidates and they're interviewing a lot more people. So at the second round interview, if you don't move forward, it's because you seemed nice to have. You met all the criteria. The recruiter liked you in the first round. You went to the hiring manager in the second round. You seemed nice enough. But you didn't come across like you were the aspirin. I'm going to talk about this so much more on this channel because people really need this to sink in. You cannot be the vitamin in this job market. You can't be the nice to have. You need to be the pain reliever, the problem solver. You need to be the aspirin. And so when you're not moving forward, you have not convinced that hiring manager that you will be the aspirin. So one of the things that we're teaching people to do right now in job interviews is really agitate the pain and flush out the problem as a way to set up that you are the solution. If you think about it, you have to be the person that can say, I'm going to take this off your plate. I'm going to make the work easier. And the way you do that is you look at the job description. So with my clients, for example, if there's a job they're interviewing for, we'll look at the job description, we'll write out all of the different aspects of the job requirements, and then we'll say, okay, what goes wrong? What breaks? What's the bad stuff that happens if this task or requirement isn't done correctly? Because you know the answer to that because you know how to do the job. So that's where you list out all those pain points so that you can agitate them. Then in a third column, I have my clients put what experience of yours, what skills of yours is going to solve for this problem and alleviate that pain. So all the tasks you have to do for the job, what happens if they're not done correctly, pain, problem, experience that you have that solves that. This prepares you to go in and discuss this in the interviews so that you now aren't just talking about your features, you're talking about your benefits. So again, a marketing concept we need to know. People buy based on emotion. Hiring managers are buyers of your service. You're a business of one selling your service to the customer, the employer. They want to feel like you are going to solve their problem and alleviate their pain. They want to feel the benefits of hiring you. But so many people go into job interviews, especially that second round, and they just talk about their features, their experience. They don't translate that into the benefits, the pain relief. That's what this exercise and some other things that we teach you in Work It Daily will do to prepare you for an interview. And let me just say, if there's one place right now as a job seeker, I would encourage you to invest time and energy in learning and closing your gaps of knowledge, it is in interview prep. You are going to get the biggest return on your investment in the form of moving forward in the interviews and getting the job offer and sitting in a place to negotiate for more money when you crush the job interviews. So there are changes that need to be made to the way people are presenting themselves so that they are seen as the aspirin, that they are conveying their benefits more accurately. And that is, I'm telling you, time on your side really well spent, okay? But if this is happening to you repeatedly, again, it's not that you're a bad candidate, you're a nice to have. I need you to become a must have. If this made sense to you and it was helpful, there's 2 free ways you can help me back. Follow me here and then post a question so that I can keep answering them for you. And let me help you with a ton of free resources. The little circle with my head in it here, click on that. There's a link. And if you go there, all of my free resources to get you going immediately to help solve for some of these issues you're dealing with in your job search is listed there as well, okay? Because I do want to help 10 million people on this app getting you better paying jobs. Thank you so much for sharing. Good luck, my friends. Go get them.
Out of 7 interview processes I went through in the last 3 months, I now have a job. But out of the 7 interviews, 4 ghosted me completely. This is after I wrote a cover letter, was phone screened, was emailing back and forth, scheduled an in-person interview or like a Zoom one-on-one. A couple of them were an hour or more. Almost all of the positions that ghosted me, I think besides one, had given me a specific time to expect to hear back from them. I emailed following up, thanking them for their time interviewing me. Never heard back from any of them. Not even a generic, like, the position's been filled message, which I actually don't like those, but it's better than ghosting. Why are jobs ghosting people now? Like, that's unprofessional and lacks decency, and you can't tell me any different, because what the frick is that?
I got ghosted from a job after basically being hired. Painful. I know. I used to be a teacher, now I'm not, and I'm looking for jobs in retail. About a month ago, I applied to this retail job that I found online, and they got back to me almost immediately. They were like, hey, your application looks great, come in for an interview. So I went in, had my interview, me and the manager were vibing, and she was like, you know what, we like you. This is gonna work. All you have to do is come back into shadow to see if you like it. She was like, if you like it here during your shadow, then we'll talk about when you can start. My interview was on a Wednesday. She was like, not this Friday, but next Friday, I'll let you know what time to come in for a shadow. I was like, okay. Beginning of the following week comes, and I hear nothing from her. Tuesday come and goes, Wednesday come and goes, still nothing. And then by Wednesday, I was like, Are they good? The only form of communication that I had for this place was a random phone number that texted me inviting me into interview. And the lady who texted me wasn't even the lady who did my interview. So on that Wednesday, I texted that lady back and I was like, hey, I was told that I could come back into shadow. Do you have any idea what time? No response. Thursday comes. Thursday was supposed to be the day before my interview. This lady never responded to my text, so I look up their phone number on Google and I call the store. First time I called, an automated voice picks up and the line was busy, whatever. They were like, call back later. Second time I called, same thing. Third time I called, same thing. Fourth time I called, same thing. And you know what the worst part was? That I couldn't even leave a message because their voicemail box wasn't set up. Friday rolls along and I'm like, well, it'd be a miracle if they reached out to me now. They didn't. So yeah, I got ghosted. And I honestly wouldn't have been that mad if it was just a vague like, I will get back to you, blah, 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 blah. They told me exactly what day to come in and made me believe that the ball was in my court. If I liked it, then I was hired. Around the same time of that incident, I walked around with my resume but got turned down by multiple places because no one was hiring because it was slow season. They all told me to come back end of March. Those same exact places tell me to come back in July. So when I come back in July, are you gonna tell me to come back in September? I don't know. I just feel like it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And I'm not at all saying that retail is easy. I'm just confused on why I keep on getting so many mixed messages. I just want money in my pocket like right now. But these jobs keep playing in my face. So I'm a little confused and very tired. This job market sucks. But thanks for letting me vent.
So yeah, that is just a little bit of what's going on. Let me know in the comments if y'all like videos like this so we can kind of just mix up what we're talking about. Yeah, ladies, this is another reason for you to really just focus on yourself and doing what's best for you. And if you have kids, for your children, especially if you're single, you really need to just focus because once again, who's doing this? Men. And so women are going to really need to come together, and single women with children are really, like just women period, are really going to have to come together and help each other with our own children, with babysitting, with, you know, just if you can find roommates or cousins that, you know, that you wouldn't mind moving in with, it would help if they're like-minded. I wouldn't suggest that you move in with a mammy or a pick-me. That could be a danger to you or your children. I'm still going to tell the truth about that. Like in this economy, we're already doing bad. Like $100,000 where I live is just not really doing what it used to do. And I know most of y'all live in cities more expensive than where I live. I live down south in one of the cheapest states, but I know like California, San Francisco, New York, places like Dallas, Texas, so expensive. Like $100,000 now is barely enough to get two people through it. So if you have a kid or two or three, people are struggling with $100,000. If one spouse is not working, that they're struggling. I'm gonna do more videos on stuff like this because I like looking at stuff like this. I don't like talking about what's going on between men and women, although that's very important because I'm a Virgo, so I'm very spiritual, but I believe that all of this is spiritual. What's going on is like, it's tied in with what they're doing with the laws. These jobs, I think they're trying to reset America. And I think they're even taking some of these applications to Spanish because I think they're going to be hiring a lot of these immigrants and putting them over American people. And so they're going to be requesting that a lot of us know Spanish or know Mandarin, whatever language you've been looking into. If you know just another language, I don't care how old you are. I'm about to be 41 in September, and I am teaching myself a new language. I'm learning a new language. It's going to take me about 3 or 4 years, I'm sure, because it is really hard to learn a new language. But if a lot of these people can come over here and learn English, why can't we learn their language? I already know of a lot of women who do speak Spanish and are learning Spanish and are fluent in it, that are white, that are black. You know, I have a Chinese girl. I don't know if she's Chinese, but she's Asian in my class. So we can do this, ladies. Just be an asset. It's early in the morning, y'all. I'm about to go to work, but be an asset to the ladies around you. You know, we all have gifts, and as women, we can do so much, but don't get scared. If you're out of a job, just think about the community that you can build. I really don't want to have to work in this system. I would love to get together with a group of women and we just grow our own food, learn how to make our own clothes, and just do it. Like, just go back to the natural ways. Right now, I know everybody's just busy trying to survive, but have a plan. I have like a 3 to 5 year plan to learn Spanish. I don't want to be in America forever. I want to retire maybe in the next 5 years, if possible. I don't, make the most money, but I still have a plan to try to retire in the next 5 years. Not here, because in a lot of countries, you can retire with very little. You don't have to keep working we don't have to keep working like slaves for the rest of our lives until we're 60, 70, or dead. I refuse to do that. So ladies, let me know what you think, and let the women know in the bottom, like, what have you been doing on your job searches that have been helping you? Did you find any of these tips in this video to be helpful? If you did, give this video a thumbs up and share, and I will talk to you ladies later. Bye.